watch, for eternity, the people in the lake of fire suffering, and is it a physical thing? We know that they do, and we know that there's elements of that. Or is this talking about God's second coming judgment, where he's going to deal with the idolater and those that are rejected, and you're going to have in Gehenna fire, dead bodies, the great supper of the Lord, and torment, and as Christ is setting up his kingdom, right, there's this horrible, terrifying visual of what it means to reject God. Something to think about? I mean, it's just lake of fires over here, and I believe there, as we study there, Gehenna is different. Gehenna is the results of those that rejected the second coming. And there will be fire, and there will be death, and people will be coming to Jerusalem as Jesus is taking his throne, and he'll be going, pick your choice. Right? And it's pretty crazy to think about. So if I was to make an application, that's the imminent wrath that the New Testament is built on. Right? And we have the gospel. We're not appointed to wrath. Right? The Bible promises he'll remove his assembly, his church. But I mean, when we were down in Mexico, there's 1 million people in that city, Chihuahua. Right? Caught up in Catholicism, animism, everything underneath the sun. And it was interesting because you get into a missions trip and you're so burdened. And we took Caleb Worcester down, Black Caleb, and he's like, "Oh man, I want to be a missionary." And he's like, "Oh, what do I need to do?" Because I mean, he's seeing the need and he's seeing the lost souls. Everything in Chihuahua. I mean, it wasn't so much slums, right? There's cartel down there, and you can tell some of the rougher part of the city. But nobody, I think I saw 3 smokers. That was it, the whole time down there. Like, nobody smoked. We saw one guy that was drunk, but walked around the compound a couple times. But I mean, don't picture caste system, like people not making much money and living in hovels, but things were clean. They still needed Jesus, but Caleb, he's all excited. He's like, "Man, I said, Caleb," I said, "you live in Maine. Maine can't be that much different than New Brunswick. We have people that haven't held Bibles, don't know Christ. I mean, you have kids growing up there, and I'm like, we're just as destitute as Chihuahua is. But that, I guess my application would be there, that this imminent wrath, reading something like that and going, oh yeah, that's the lake of fire. No, that's, if the rapture was to happen, that's 7 years, right after we're removed. That kind of puts an urgency towards us sharing and doing what we're called to do. Sobering? We transition to prayer?